Our next story is both disturbing and shocking, let's warn you. It's about a palliative nurse in Germany who has been convicted of the murder of 10 patients. You heard that right. The murder of 10 patients. Someone who was supposed to look after these patients, take care of them, convicted of the murder of these patients with lethal injections. Not just that, and the attempted murder of 27 others. But why would someone do this? If the story already isn't horrific enough, wait till you hear the answer to that question. According to the prosecutors, the nurse injected his mostly elderly patients with painkillers or sedatives to ease his workload at night. Just let that sink in. Let me just repeat that. To ease his workload at night. This is extremely disturbing, to say the least. The nurse has been handed a life sentence by a German court. In fact, the crime was found to be particularly severe, meaning the nurse has little chance of being released after 15 years, the minimum time that can be served for a life sentence in Germany. The nurse committed the crimes between December 2023 and May 2024 at a clinic. The verdict can be appealed. According to German media, investigators are looking at several other suspicious incidents during the nurse's career. In fact, in the worst killing spree in Germany's post-war history, a former nurse was jailed in 2019 for life for murdering 85 of his patients.
This is why I'm such a huge advocate for mental health screenings on nurses at least once a year, because stuff like this is completely and utterly disgusting, unacceptable, and I don't care what your excuse is. That does not give you the right to take the life of 10 patients that trusted you with their lives, and then attempting to take the lives of several other patients, and now they have to look into your background to see what you may have possibly tried to do in the past. And man, look, the game is getting crazy out here. And I do understand as a nurse myself how taxing it can be to your mental, but that is why it's up to you. And it's your responsibility to make sure that your mental health is in check, because stuff like this will happen. Now, you got people who, I've seen some people online saying that, well, you don't know what. No. There is absolutely no defending, no justifying, none of this. I don't care how stressed out the man was. That is not nobody else's fault for you to go out there and hurt those people and take their lives, taking somebody from their family because you want to ease your workload. And I'm just like, I'm really to the point to where, yeah, they locked him up for life sentences and everything like that. And let me check myself, because I'm not God. Who am I to say who should breathe and who should not breathe? But stuff like that frustrates me, because I really do, especially being in hospice now. My appreciation for the occupation of nursing, my respect level has gone up as well. Like, my appreciation and respect level, it's changed my perspective a lot on this field. And now when I see people like him, and it's horrible that this happened anywhere, but I'm so glad it was not in America, even though America has had their fair share of nurses in the media doing horrific things. But I can only imagine it. I'm glad it wasn't in Florida, because Florida has been on some other stuff lately, but my heart goes out for the people that have lost their loved ones in this whole thing. My heart goes out. And this is why the public has an issue right now with nurses, and they don't trust nurses. And it's unfortunate, because there are a lot of good nurses out here that would never ever do that. And in some way, I think the public they know that, but like I said, it's easy to beat up on nurses, but it's even easier when you got situations like this, because now people have nothing but ammo. They're like, oh, well, look what that nurse in Germany did. Well, that don't mean that that's everybody else. And although that was horrific, that's an isolated situation that happened. You can't charge that to everybody else who's a nurse. And like I said, I think most people do know that, but it's just one of those things where we just have to be careful. And HR, I can't put the blame totally on HR, but I just feel like there have been a lot of cases where HR have let people slip through the cracks without doing their research. Now, look, this guy could have had the perfect resume. He could have had the perfect background. And one day he could have just snapped. But after one death, accidents happen. 2 deaths, 3, what are we really doing? What's going on? And the story did not tell how close in time or far apart in time each death was. So as this story updates, I know he's getting a life sentence, but as more details come to the light, I'll try my best to stay in tune and bring you guys the information that's out here. But nurses, I really want to stress to you all, because I know a lot of y'all got stuff going on at home. I done worked in nursing homes where I've seen and I've had directors of nursing where they've gone through so much stuff that they really should not be in those positions. They've lost children. They've had divorces. They've had horrific things happen to them. And they should not. And these companies, to me, they don't have your best interest. When you going through stuff like that, and they know you going through stuff like that, and some of these companies they're still okay with putting you in very high stress positions, that is when you got to step in and be able to check yourself and be like, you know what? This is not it. This is not it. If your company is willing to let you continue to work in a position and you've had a traumatic experience like losing children, losing a spouse, losing parents, and they don't want to give you time off, they don't want you to go through a grieving process in a healthy way, they're not trying to support you in a healthy way, then you don't need to be there. Nursing will be here. You got to take care of your mental health first, because what's going to happen when one day all that builds up and you snap? Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. This is why now in my career, I'm trying to be as stress-free as possible. I am trying to be as stress-free as possible. I see so many cases where young people are coming in because they stressed about the world. And from the outside looking in, you be thinking like, well, what are you stressed about? You only 14, 15, 16. But then you hear some of these children, some of these teenagers' stories, and it's sad and it's heartbreaking. So mental health is a big thing. And I really think it's a slept on thing. And, it's starting to come more to the light. Nurses, please check yourself mentally. Know when it's time for you to reset, take a vacation. That's why I try to take a vacation every 30 to 45 days. I'm about to get on the plane, hopefully, soon, very soon, tonight. And I'm about to reset and recharge. And I advocate for that, because if you don't take care of you, who else gonna do it? Because 9 times out of 10, your company ain't gonna do it. They could know you stressed and be like, all right, we'll still come to work. As a matter of fact, one of the unit managers that I work with literally had a stroke. Right-handed guy they was just talking about it had a stroke. And because from what they're saying, it's because of the workload. Then he's coming back to work. He didn't even have a month off. Stop letting these jobs play with your mental health. Stop letting them play with your physical health. All right? My name is CJ, aka the High Value Nurse, checking in once again. Have y'all ever been in a situation where your job has tried to try you and make you do something that you know mentally wasn't right? Let me know in a comment. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell, so you don't miss any of the content. Until next time, take care of yourself and get paid. Young nurse, get paid.